Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. This is it, the final bell with Uncle James Bashir, the former trainer of Alexander Usyk. Let's get Uncle Bashir in the room and get him on camera, and let's do this. The floor's all yours, Uncle.
Hey,
Good
good
evening. So, how are you doing?
Everything's going well. Um, Fight's over with on our fight, so now it's up to Usyk and Anthony Joshua.
The weight, Usyk
Excuse me,
220.
Did you get those cruiserweights that I sent you today?
No, I did see it, but I didn't look at it. I didn't get a chance to look at it. Why?
Oh man,
Who
you
are
gotta
they?
see that. I gotta remember those guys' names. It was a fantastic fight. Might be the fight of the year so far.
Okay, well, I'll have a look at that
Okay.
when I finish with you tonight. Yes, so I will check that out. Yes, so Usyk's weight 221, I think, and Joshua 240 pounds. Your thoughts first about the weights of both guys?
I think that they, it's much.
Hold on.
That's me. Um, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Go ahead.
I think it's much to do about nothing. In the old days, you just got in shape and you came in the ring and you fought. Now it's everybody puts a lot of emphasis on metabolism and this and that and that and this. There's a lot of different ramifications that boxers and trainers and people who are trying to create jobs for themselves, they go through. But I think it's a bunch of malarkey because when the bell rings, it's going to boil down to a fight. So, I'm not saying that you got to come in obese or come in malnutritioned, but I'm saying they put too much time and effort in, body fat and this and that. And I know there's going to be critics that say something about me saying what I'm saying now. I'm just saying, did you get yourself in shape? You go in the gym, you skip rope, you do the sit-ups, the pull-ups, the speed bag, straight bag, heavy bag. You spar. You get the sparring in. That's one of the most important things is to get in sparring. With the right sparring partners. You don't want to just get sparring. You want to get the right sparring partners that who resembles the guy that you're going to be in there fighting. So, and I don't know if there's that many southpaws around that can box the way that Alexander Usyk can. He's a very fleet-footed guy, very articulate, very focused, very tough, mentally and physically. So you still try to gather different sparring partners who can resemble him in his movement, in his reactions and stuff. And you go to work. But now, everybody is putting weight on, trying to take weight off, and, this, that, and the other. And I don't think that it makes a difference once that fight starts. Once you get hit on the chin, once you get hit around the ribs, it's just going to boil down to a fight. Who's there to fight?
Okay. 20-foot ring.
20-foot ring, I mean they big guys, so I guess they got a justification for have but I think that Ernie Shavers and Ron Lyle and those guys was in 18 by 18s. You understand? To make sure that there was going to be a fight. In a 20 by 20, you'd be lucky if they was on the same side of the street in the same day.
Really?
Yeah, I mean 20 by 20 is not a lot. I mean, that's a lot for some guy that's supposed to be fighting. So 20 by 20 is not, I think it's too big. I think 18 by 18 would be more, you'd be more likely to get a fight.
I would have thought if you were the champion, you're Anthony Joshua, you'd be looking for a a smaller ring to stop Usyk from having all that movement. I would have demanded a 18 by 18 to stop Usyk moving around the ring and be able to close him down much
Well, they
faster.
probably have some kind of a coin toss,
Hmm.
and Usyk's people probably wanted the coin toss. That's usually the case, that there's a coin toss. I mean, Usyk is already fighting in another country. He's fighting Anthony Joshua's promoter, so you got to give the man something. You got to throw a bone to him, something. So that might be the case.
What have you made of Anthony Joshua's demeanor of the last 24 hours? The things he's been saying.
That's just him. That's his makeup. Nobody can change that. I don't feed in that either, because that's his makeup. That's Anthony Joshua. I mean, I would have him personally. I would have him to be more business-like, more serious, more aggressive. But again, that's Anthony Joshua's persona. And
Is
the
it?
one thing I'll say is that Alexander Usyk and Anthony Joshua, they know what they're up against. They know what they have to do. They know what they have to do when they get in there. They know they have to go to work.
Okay.
Usyk is the Olympic gold medalist. He's the undisputed cruiserweight champion, and nothing would suit him better than to go in there and knock off Anthony Joshua to win the World Heavyweight Championship. That would be the coup de grace for him.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other hand, Anthony Joshua knows that he's just coming away from slipping on the banana peel and losing to Ruiz. He came back, and then he came back and beat Ruiz, and then he came back with another good performance against Kubrat Pulev. So Anthony Joshua is articulate and well aware that he's on display tomorrow night. Usyk is well aware that he's on display tomorrow night. So both of them is hungry. Both of them want it.
Let me ask you this question, and I thought about it yesterday. Is Alexander Usyk in the peak of his career? Is he in decline, or is he just stagnant? I mean, or he's just there, consistent.
I can't say yay and I can't say nay until after this fight is over. This fight will tell a lot about who Alexander Usyk is. This is going to tell a lot. This is going to be a clear description of who he is and how bad does he want it. But I got a gut feeling, based on what I know about Alexander Usyk, he's going to roll the dice tomorrow night.
Okay. Since you departed from yourself and Usyk departed, I can't see what your philosophy was, but from knowing you, and spending time close and things we've said on camera, off camera, it seems that you are very invested in your fighter hitting but not getting hit, and being defensively responsible at all times. Would you say that's a fair assessment of yourself? And two, would you say that Alexander Usyk, since leaving you, has moved away from that train of thought?
Yeah and no.
Okay.
I can see there are glimpses. Like, I saw a lot of what I would have had him doing against Murat Gassiev of Russia.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lot of what I taught to him in training. I saw that in the ring. I saw him executing that against Murat
Right, Gaston.
Gassiev. And he took away a lot of the assets of Gassiev. Gassiev is a murderous puncher. But Usyk never sat long enough to receive the bruising punishment that Garcia was capable of issuing. So Usyk moved, gave him a lot of angles, and Garcia couldn't deal with it. He basically shut Garcia out. He shut Garcia out the same way he shut out Milwaukee in Poland. Basically, the scores was the same: 119, 108, 109, 120, 110. It was a blowout. So he fought intelligently. That's the name of the game. Sometimes it looks like a work of art, and other times it gets boring because you get tired of watching round after round after round after round of a guy chasing another guy around the ring, you know. But it's an art form because Usyk is boxing. It's up to Garcia, it's up to Derek Chisora and those guys to cut the ring. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I thought that Abel Sanchez missed, when he was training Garcia. He had to see it in the training camp that Garcia can't cut the ring. If you watch that fight, Usyk just ran rings around him, and the guy was just following him all night. And Usyk did primarily the same thing boxing Chisora. He just kept circling him, pop shotting him, and Chisora never cut the ring off. Chisora never cut the ring off. They weren't successful. So I would think that the trainer would have to see that the boxer is not being successful cutting the ring off in the training camps before they get to the dance. When they got to the dance, Abel Sanchez said, well, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do. But how? How
If
do
you
I
haven't been
do
trained,
this, sir?
if you haven't trained it, then it's not going to happen, is it? If you didn't put it in practice, how's it going to happen?
You tell them you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to throw punches, you got to do this. How do I do it? If we don't do it in the training camp, how do we get to the dance and I still can't do it? I mean, what you going to wave a magic wand and change things? So, I just think that you got to intercept a problem in the camp the same way that all of us, even the people in the listening orders, every one of us have to go to the doctor. We go to doctors so the doctor can diagnose a problem, so he can see the problem before the problem becomes too big to deal with. The doctor says, oh, you got to take some high blood medicine. Oh, you got a spleen problem, or you got this, or you got that. Let's address this now while it's in its initial stages. So I would think that you'd have to see that in the training camp and address it. Say, look, man, you're not cutting the ring off. You're not pushing this guy back to the ropes, this, that, and the other. But you can't come to the dance and then say, okay, this is what we got to do. No, you got to get that. You got to get that straight before you get to the fight. And a lot of times I see that where fighters get to the fight and the trainers are in the locker room trying to teach. You can't teach nobody. You can't train nobody in the locker room. Your words are falling on deaf ears.
Deaf is.
Because the fighter is so focused on what they got to do in that ring, and you're putting added pressure on them, saying, well, look, work off the jab, this and that, this, that. You can't train nobody in the locker room. Leave that alone. We have to dance now. Leave the fighter alone. Because if he can't remember what he learned in training camp, then he's in big trouble. Maybe he should become a male truck driver or something.
Okay, right. I've got people in the room here, so I'm just gonna put some comments up, and then you can respond to them. So,
okay.
Steve Pemberton, good evening. He says, I did listen to Joshua's brief interview on Sky. He did not look or sound right to me, rambling on about 100 kg heavyweights. His heart is not in it. He feels like a broken man to me. He's probably been knocked out a few times in preparation. Thoughts, Uncle?
That's a perception. That's this person's perception, and the person could be correct, and he does not have to be correct. But that's his perception. So maybe he's noticing something that nobody else is picking up on. So I won't
Okay.
dismiss it. I won't embrace it, but I won't dismiss it either.
Okay. Clown Bolt says AJ just going looking like he's going through the motions. Obviously, I know nothing, but my money will be going on Usyk.
Yeah, I see that there's a momentum. That there's momentum being picked up for Usyk. And maybe this is a sign. I just think that Anthony Joshua knows where he's at. He understands and realizes this is a big fight, and this is his chance to make a great legacy for himself. But if he falls down in this fight, if he falls down and loses that title, he'll never be able to come back from that. He'll never be able to live that out. He'll never be able to live that down. He has to win. Usyk can lose and still come back. But Anthony can't lose. He can't lose. If he loses to Usyk tomorrow night, then he will never be able to live that down. Nobody will ever believe in him. He could even come back and win the title again, but nobody will never believe in him. They'll always make reference to what happened with Ruiz and what happened with Usyk. The fans will always make reference. The pundits will always make reference to what happened in those two fights. So he has to win all night. He's on the hot seat. He's got to win.
Eugene, good evening, Eugene. Hope you're well. Would Mr. Bashir say it's hard to get into Usyk's head? He seems very disassociated when he boxes, very snake-like.
Repeat that.
Would Mr. Bashir say it's hard to get into Usyk's head? He seems very disassociated when he boxes, very snake-like.
I mean, I don't understand that.
It's basically saying that Usyk seems very disconnected when he boxes. He doesn't seem like he's not phased. He doesn't get concerned about external things when he boxes. Is it easy to phase him? Is it easy to disturb his mental strength or his mental preparation?
Well, I'll tell you, I thought that the best guy yet that I've seen yet that got into Usyk's head and gave Usyk some problems was Tony Bellew. Because Tony Bellew didn't show the customary respect for Usyk like a lot of other people do. Tony Bellew was there to fight, and he was disrupting Usyk's rhythm. But the one thing Usyk was able to do was he was able to keep the pressure on Tony Bellew until he wore him down mentally and physically and got the knockout. But Bellew, to me, was the guy who fought Usyk best. He looked like he had Usyk's number. And if he had just had better stamina, he might have been able to do something.
It says here, you don't come to work site without your tools. He's talking about Anthony Joshua.
What do you come up with his tools? What tools?
He's saying that you don't come to work without your tools.
I mean, what is Anthony missing?
Well, the way he's carrying himself to me, he's like he's thanking everybody, shaking Usyk's hand, he's touching him, he's smiling with him, very, very friendly, very, very.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. Yeah, I kind of agree with it. I'm not a fan of that deal. We could do all that deal stuff when the fight's over, but coming into the fight,
Right.
coming into the fight, I don't need that deal. We could be respectful to each other.
Yeah.
But I got my game face on. I know we got to throw punches. I know that you size me up. I know you size me up like I'm a Thanksgiving dinner, but I'm sizing you up too, And I don't want to be over friendly. I just want to box.
I don't see a dominant heavyweight champion. I see a guy who's got belts on him. And is he a very vulnerable champion?
Well, I said it just now. I said that he's got to win this fight because this is a legacy-making fight. If he slips on a banana peel tomorrow night, then the fans and the pundits will never let him live it down. He's got to win. But if he slips up and loses to Alexander Usyk tomorrow night, nobody won't forget. They won't
It says
forget.
here, my name is Jeff says, it's AJ seems like he's just going through emotions, but if that was the case, why would he go to the bother of signing a lifetime contract? It doesn't line up. So AJ signed a lifetime contract with Matchroom.
Yeah, I saw that, but who knows, Who knows? Maybe they all know something that we don't know,
Mm-hmm.
They signed a lifetime contract, So that means that they got future plans.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's 31 years old.
Yeah.
He's 31 years old, so he's got time. So he signed a contract,
Mm-hmm.
I just want the bell to ring to find out what he's going to do.
Bradley Tubbs asked the question, would you not sign a new contract before facing the most talented boxer you've ever faced?
Say that again.
Would you not sign a new contract before facing the most talented boxer you've ever faced?
Money make people do strange things,
I agree.
Money makes people do strange things, make strange commitments. So I can't say yay or I can't say nay. If somebody got an envelope and all I got to do is sign and we make that deal, and they got an envelope saying take this money, I'm going to take the money.
Jeff says, I like Usyk. I think AJ's on the slide mentally and Usyk's on a different level when he's on it.
Yeah, like I said, momentum is picking up for Usyk.
Jeff says, in the first few rounds of the Chisora fight, Usyk looked disheveled because Derek was like a charging rhino. After 3 rounds, Usyk was playing with him, though.
Yeah, because Derek was just a freight train, but he's out of steam. He's out of sync. I thought that Usyk's corner missed the opportunity. They should have told him to settle down and take the fight to Derek, because I don't think Derek could have did nothing. If had Usyk came back and fought him, he might have stopped him because Derek was exhausted. He was very badly exhausted. But when you get to 9 and 10 rounds, you can see the ends, and it gives you some kind of spirit, some kind of enthusiasm, some kind of drive to go to the end. But the 6th round, the 7th round, that's not the end, and he was exhausted at that time.
Okay. Did you notice how AJ's eye? I'm thinking. You don't think AJ went and saw? Now I know why AJ's behaving the way he's behaving. It makes sense. I've just clicked what it is. You remember before the Andy Ruiz fight, AJ was meant to see us. He was getting a sports psychologist because he was scared of Andy Ruiz knocking him out. Do you remember that? And he went and saw a sports psychologist. Do you remember that all that conversation about AJ?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember Ken Norton doing that too. But
and listen, I've seen the disassociation before because I saw that same talk when Froch fought Groves the second time, and he went and saw that sports psychologist. Them sports psychologists I know, and they get them to disassociate themselves with what is actually going on, so they don't focus on the fight. They talk about everything but the fight. They talk about the fans. They talk about being grateful. They talk about being happy. They don't talk about any really concrete things about the fight. They talk very airy-fairy about the fight. They focus on the fans. So they don't get emotionally charged up about the fight because that's not where the sports psychologist wants them to be. The sports psychologist wants them to be calm, especially if someone like AJ has anxiety issues. And it would make sense because of the Andy Ruiz first fight. He had some anxiety issues coming into that fight, and he supposedly had anxiety issues in the dressing room. So maybe, just maybe, we're looking at that with AJ. Why he looks
Everything,
so out
everything
of it.
that you just, everything that you just said, you left me out in the woods on the back porch. I was just trying to get in touch with you saying, because I'm strictly old school.
I
Ding
know,
when
I
the
know,
bell,
I know, I know, but now
ding,
I
ding,
understand why
ding.
AJ's behaving the way he's
When the
behaving.
bell ring, ding, motherfucker, we got the thump.
Yeah, but you
All
see,
right.
what happen is when AJ gets to the arena, that sports psychologist will say something to him to click him into fight mode.
Listen,
That's what's
listen,
going to happen, I
listen.
think.
I've been hit hard
Yeah,
in the fight.
yeah,
I've been hit hard while I was street fighting,
yeah,
and I've been hit hard sparring in the gym.
yeah.
And I've been scared. I get scared. I said, damn, I might get knocked out here. This guy hurt me, and he's hurt me with every shot he hit. So at the same time, there's another part of my mind that says, okay, all right, all right, all right, calm down.
Hmm.
Hit this mother back. Look for a spot on his body and hit it hard. Let's neutralize what's happening here. Because he's feeling the same thing I'm feeling. He's feeling the same fatigue and the same pain that I'm feeling. So just settle down and aim for some place on the body that's accessible to you. I don't care where it's at. On the bicep, on the tricep, on the elbow, on the forearm, on the shoulder blade, on the nose, on the temple. Hit him hard somewhere. And if you can, make it a two-piece. You know what I'm saying? To put something on his mind. Because everybody is human. Everybody is human being. Everybody feels pain. And if he
Yeah, but
hits you back, yeah.
uncle, the key thing you're forgetting about this hypno. Listen, I've seen hypnosis. People who do hypnosis have gone to these shows and they've mocked the hypnosis. The hypnosis has put them to sleep at the count of three and made them get them start barking like a dog, made them start rolling over like a dog and do sorts of things in a live audience. I've seen the people hypnotized like that.
Ken Norton had a hypnosis before he fought George Foreman, and guess what? He was successful because he was in hypnosis when George Foreman hit him too. You know, he still was in a state. He still was in a trance, in a hypnotic trance. Yeah,
You just
man,
wrong,
this is
uncle.
this is
He's wrong. You're wrong. You're
this
wrong.
is
You're just wrong.
boxing, man.
That's
This
wrong,
is
uncle. You're
boxing.
wrong. Yeah.
This is boxing. It's out. It's out slicking the other guy.
There's no way you're going to beat me. No way. No way. No. Remember Bruno did it. Bruno got a
I
sports
had this young
psychologist.
man. I had this young man, Vlad Sarenko, we was in Bulgaria, and he was sparring.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought he was responding too late. The guy threw a 1-2. He blocked the one, but the two gets in.
Mm-hmm.
And then the guy does it again. 1-2. The two gets in. The one gets stopped, but the two gets in. And I got so frustrated. I said, yo, man, what are you doing? You're standing there in one place. You're not giving them angles. You're not bobbing. You're not weaving. You're not sticking your butt out. You're not bending your knees. You're just
Mm-hmm.
taking the second shot.
Mm-hmm.
And Vlad got upset. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do, man? I'm doing the best I can. I said, Vlad, calm down, man. We're on the same team. We're on the same team. I'm just trying to tell you something. Don't take these punches in the gym because those punches are going to add up. Every single time you get hit in the gym or in the fight, it takes a little piece of you away.
Mm-hmm.
It may not add up yet, but as the years go on, it's going to add up. So I'm trying to get you to be alert. When you're in there boxing, you got to be alert and you got to do everything you can to defend yourself from taking those punches. Now start bending your back, putting your gloves up, parrying the punches. You got to use your gloves to parry punches. The guys have a headgear on. They have bigger gloves, so it gives them a false sense of security, and they're ready to take these punches. But those punches are going to take something away from you. They're going to take
Yeah.
something away from you. You may not be able to see it right away, but as time goes on, you'll see it. You'll see it. Little tremor, a little stagger, and that's coming from taking the headshots, the ear shots. So I said, don't take
Yeah.
nothing. When you get in the
Mhm.
ring, when you get in the ring, you got to be on your P's and Q's. And if you're not on your P's and Q's, guess what? Don't get in the ring.
Mhm.
Go skip rope. Go get in the mirror and shadow box, but don't get in the ring. Don't get in the ring unless you're at least 93%.
Okay.
The other 7% you can skin out, you can make it. But don't get in that ring, on a bet tomorrow. Today I had a bad day. Come out your nose bloody, your ear bleeding. That's crazy. I never liked that then. I don't like it to this day.
Okay. The other thing now it starts making sense where AJ keeps talking about, like he kept saying, "Oh yeah, I'm training and I'm gonna be training tomorrow." He's been using the ring at the O2 Arena. He's been sparring inside the O2 Arena ring, which makes it me feel that he also wants to make his surroundings comfortable, sort of thing a sports psychologist would make him do, make himself feel comfortable that he's at home. This is his home. He is his place. He's king. Make him relaxed. When you've got anxiety issues, the way a sports psychologist will do is try and take all those nerves away from you by making you feel at home. These sort of things you do to um, sort of pacify the whole event.
I'm making a very large investment, with the other young man in New York, Igor Plavecko over in New York. He's a Ukrainian kid, and Vlasarenko. And the investment that I'm making with them, and I work with them because they listen so good.
Okay.
But every now and then, young men, they drift off. They just drift off, and you got to bring them back to square one.
Right.
And I make them aware of the things that they're doing, the things that will not fly in a battle.
Hmm.
You know, this. Guys say you can't be perfect all the time. I say you got to be perfect all the time. Even if you can't be perfect all the time, my thinking is you got to be perfect all the time because you're taking punches, man. And when you're taking punches, you want to try to stay as far away from that there because sooner or later, those punches are gonna start telling on you. So
Yeah.
you gotta be like I said, 93% of the time you gotta be on your P's and Q's when you're out there. So other 7% you can skin out. You can slip, slide, and stay to the side and all that greasy kid stuff. You can do those things, but you gotta be damn near perfect all of the time. I don't like it
Okay.
when my guys get hit. I don't like it because it's like I'm not doing my job. I'm not doing my job. I'm trying to guide these guys where they don't get all messed up at the end of their careers,
Okay.
so they can walk away from the business with some money and with some sense.
All right. I'm going to go back to the questions. And the point is here. Bradley Tubbs says, "Did you notice how AJ's eyes were glazed over when Eddie was talking about his resume? Uh, too closer to when he got mentioned to when he got close to mentioning Andy Ruiz's name, the more uncomfortable he became."
No, I didn't notice that.
Okay. Daniel Manu, sorry, says, "For me, Joshua will be vulnerable between rounds 5 to 7 if he unloads on Usyk and doesn't get him out of there in the previous rounds and gasses until the second win, as he's seen in a couple of his fights." Your thoughts on that, Uncle?
Could be, could be. I just think, like I said a couple of times before in this conversation, AJ back is to the wall. Instead of people saying AJ is the man, AJ is going to win, everything that you've said thus far has been negative against AJ. So it seems like instead of Usyk being the one that got to prove himself, it's being that AJ has got to be the one. And there's a lot of people who think that Usyk has a good chance.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The
I think he
momentum
has a
is.
good chance. I think he just has a good chance. I think that he gets beat in the end. But like I said, it depends heavily.
On how AJ goes about his business.
No, it depends heavily on what each corner because Usyk is loyal. Now, Usyk is a loyal guy. He's going to do what the trainers ask him to do. I had him for 10 fights, 11 fights I had him. And everything that I told him in those 10 fights, he did it, or he tried to do it. Yeah, he'll follow a trainer's instruction to the teeth. You know, he's going to be loyal to his game. You tell him to go left, he's going to go left. You tell him to go right, he's going to go right. He said, go left, right, left, right, left, right. He's going to try to do it. You know, AJ has to do the same thing. He's got to win, man. His back is to the wall. He's got to win.
Okay.
If he should go out there and lose the titles to Alexander Usyk tomorrow night, he might as well take his money and run because he's done. He's done. Nobody will ever believe in him again. Nobody will ever believe in him again.
How do you think Anthony knows us? How do you think Usyk will start the first three rounds to build momentum success for the championship rounds?
I think for the first 3 rounds, I think that Usyk is going to be very, very careful. He's going to try to get into a rhythm. He's going to try to warm up and get into a rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Anthony Joshua has got to stop.
Got to jump on him. Mm-hmm.
He's got to stop Usyk from getting into a rhythm, because if Alexander Usyk get into a rhythm,
trouble.
It's going to be a rough night for Anthony Joshua. The way you stop Alexander Usyk from getting into a rhythm is to walk up, close up on him,
and rough him up.
Yeah, and rough him up. Punch
Dog
anything
him.
that's.
Yeah, but Uncle, isn't that the lost art of inside fighting? Is why the Eastern European fighters are doing as well as they are now, because fighting.
Listen to George Foreman. They do no inside fighting. They just swung, and whatever was there, they hit. Now you may not feel it. You may not feel it at first. You know, just let some time, a couple of minutes go past. You'll start feeling it on those muscles. AJ is a big guy. AJ is far bigger than George Foreman or Sonny Liston. All right? George Foreman and Sonny Liston in their heyday was 218, 222. This guy is 240 pounds. If he throws punches, he's going to hurt somebody. All right? So AJ got to go out there. He's got to go out there, and it should be the corner's instructions. Go out there and wreak havoc on what Alexander Usyk is doing. And if you're going to do that there and Usyk finds his way into a rhythm, he's going to have problems.
Daniel Manu continues, says Usyk is a slow starter, so AJ will pounce early rounds, and then the fight will tilt towards Usyk middle rounds, and then AJ later rounds, and then there's anyone in the championship rounds if Usyk survives.
Look, I worry about a fight round to round. Mm-hmm. I don't tell my fighters in the corner, save yourself for the 5th, 6th, 7th round. No. We trained for this fight. You go out there and you fight every round with everything that you got. You don't save nothing. You don't save nothing for round 8 or round 7. What if you get headbutted in your nose? What if you get headbutted and your nose get broke? You know, what if you get cut on your eyelid?
What if you get dropped?
Trying to save something. No, you go out there, you train, you're in condition. You know what I'm saying? You stayed in the training camp 5-6 weeks, so go out there and fight. Go out there and fight. And if you look at Usyk fighting Marius Breeders, Garcia, if you look at him in the corner, he's breathing like a freight train.
Mm-hmm, you're right.
He's breathing hard. He's sucking up the furniture. But one thing, he's focused. And he knows that's his job. And I got to go back out here. I know I got 3 more rounds to go. I got 4 more rounds to go. I got 5 more rounds to go. You know? So he's got himself mentally and physically conditioned for that brutal lung war. You know what I'm saying? So I don't tell my guys to say nothing. No, you go to work.
Okay.
You know, I might tell them, hey, take some power off your punches. Go for accuracy and speed right now. Then I'll come back and say, all right, you rested? Okay, now go out there and sit down on the punches.
Okay. My name is Jeff. Says,
Kenny Rogers said, you gotta know when to hold them, and
hold
you
them
gotta know
and
when to fold
know
them.
when to fold them.
That's right. And that's what I do.
Yep. Okay. My name is Jeff. Says that makes a lot of sense about how he's acting. I didn't know about the sports psychologist. Bradley Tubbs turns and says AJ started to cover his neck with his hands. He was clearly seeing the Andy Ruiz loss going through his mind.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think that he's going to fight. I think he realizes the position that he's in. I think he realizes what must be done when that bell rings. All right.
Wow.
And Usyk alike. He realizes what must be done. He realizes the chances that he's going to have to take tomorrow to win the championship. They both realize. I'm expecting a real good fight about the 5th, 6th, and 7th round. I'm really expecting a battle between those rounds right there.
Uncle, we're going to have to go through. We've got a packed house. We're going to have to get through these questions, okay?
Okay, let's
so
go.
We're going to go real quickly. It goes here. If he can land it, and he says, HC Weather update says, listen, what you're going to say when AJ lands that counter 1-2 and puts Usyk away within 8 rounds. Then Brad says, if he can land it, he deserves the win. Brad continues to say, Usyk is a masterful boxer. If AJ chases the KO, he could get countered and gassed. AJ needs to be smart. 20-foot ring, AJ is going to wait and counter all night. Cut off the ring, catch him, and bam. Bradley says it has to happen that way for the Fury fight to happen. When Bashir has that smirk, you know he means business, LOL.
Look, a lot of what they're saying is true.
What?
I'm just saying that AJ.
No.
What?
Rest in peace, Pro B, aka Pep Talk. No. That don't be telling me that stuff. That's not. I hope that's spam, and I hope that's not real. Because if it's real, that's not good at all.
Who's that?
It's one of the guys I knew from Pep Talk. I really hope that that is rest in peace. Is not I hope it's a spoof and it's not real. The question is, can AJ win without a stoppage? For me, he is only one win from a stoppage in this fight. He isn't gonna be dancing around the ring like he was against an obese Ruiz.
I wouldn't chance that. I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't chance that.
No chance either.
Trying to go the distance, because the closer you get to a distance, the more Usyk is going to turn it up. I told you can't let Usyk get into a rhythm. He gets into a rhythm, it's going to be a big problem.
Uh-huh.
Once he gets into a rhythm, it's going to be a big problem. I know the man. I know him up close and personal. And once he get into that rhythm,
there's trouble.
It's real trouble. It's real trouble for anybody that boxes him.
Did Mike Tyson or Lennox Lewis ever use a sports psychologist after their losses? I don't know. Stacey McKinley might be able to answer that Mike Tyson question. That's for Lennox Lewis. Uncle?
I was with Lennox a long time. I was with Mike a long time. And I don't have any knowledge about that. If they did it behind the scenes. And I was intricate in those camps.
Okay.
I was right there with Emmanuel Stewart, and I watched everything. I was around Stacey and Mike a lot. I mean, Stacey, of course, knew him better than I did. Stacey and Crocodile, they was making the wheels turn, so they knew him better than I did. But I was around them a lot, and I never saw it.
Okay.
I mean, Emmanuel would hit the ceiling about stuff like that. Okay. If somebody was bringing a sports psychologist or something, Emmanuel would have a fit.
Can you imagine?
Man, it was the goddamn punk shit. Get that old fast shit. Get that fucking punk shit out of here, man. I mean, you know, that's Emmanuel. God damn, you said that don't look good. God damn, it don't look good. It don't look good to the people. It don't look good to the fan or nothing. You know, you don't want that. And then talking about a sports psychologist. He said, bring them bricks over here and drop it on them. Tell them to go in that door, the door at the end, and then drop them bricks on them. You know? Well, we don't need no goddamn sport. It's just a damn punk thing, you know? And you know, like you see different slogans on boxers' shirt, you know,
No
you know,
pain, no gain. No pain,
yeah,
no
no
gain.
pain, no gain, you know. Latimer had something on his shirt. What is that? I forget what the logo it was he had on the shirt.
Joshua's
He had
got one
some,
now. Some days are rough and some days are tough.
yeah, but Emmanuel with it's a slogan that Latimer, but Emmanuel didn't like that. He didn't like it.
No, this ain't good. BG Lund says, "Are you joking?" He goes, "No, brother, wouldn't joke about something like that. Passed away today." No. Oh dear, that's not very good news. That's not good at all. Wow.
From God do we come, and with God is our return.
God bless him.
All this is on the train. You know, have mercy on the man. You know, and ask for mercy for him. That's all. And keep it stepping, because all of us gonna go down that same road. Every single one of us.
Please
that's why
I'll push our regards to the family and those at Pep Talk. I've known them for many years. Pep Talk, they've gone from strength to strength, and yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, never trust a RIP in a YouTube chat. Yeah, they say that, but no, I think this is true. Mad, isn't it? Yeah, it's very mad. It's not well. Here we go. Goes easy Ingram. I got Joshua by KO or stoppage 70-11. That's what I've got. I've got Joshua inside 6 actually, or AJ points. Usyk hasn't shown anything at heavyweight so far. I don't see how he beats Joshua unless it's Usyk we haven't seen at heavyweight yet. That's true. That's why I'm kind of looking at it. I'm looking at Joshua inside 6 actually. But anyway.
No, I think that it's going to be a wearing down process. I think that Joshua gets into a fight with Usyk somewhere between 6 and 8. There's going to be a fight. You know, yeah, between 6 and 8. Somebody's going to try to take charge, and it's going to be a fight. And Usyk is going to get the worst for wear because of Joshua's strength and size. And he's going to tire. And then I'm looking for Joshua to come on 9, 10, 11, somewhere around there and stop the fight. Because Usyk is a proud guy. He's going to fight. He's a proud guy. He's not going to run. He's going to fight. You know? And Joshua is going to be bombing. And Usyk is going to try to bomb for whatever it's worth. And I think that is Usyk going to get the worst of it. And I think that Joshua stops him. Because Usyk is not going to cower. He's going to fight.
Yeah, but I saw the Charles Witherspoon fight, and I have to say, Uncle, he seemed very open to the right hand, really open to the right hand. And watching Joshua work out on the
Usyk can be
bag.
hit with the right. Usyk can
Straight
be hit.
right hand. He's there to be hit.
You know, Tony Bellew was landing the right hand to the body and head. But what I'm telling you is
the left hook as well, Uncle.
Huh?
Left hook as well. The left hook, Uncle. When he moves away from Josh's right hand, he'll walk into that big left hook.
Look. I said Usyk is a human being, and he has an attitude problem. You hit him, and he gets pissed off. He'll stay there and fight you. He'll fight you. You know, he'll fight. You crack him a couple of times, he's gonna try to get it back. He's gonna try to fight him back. That's what I think is going to happen with Joshua. I think it's going to come down to a gunfight between 7 and 9 or 6 and 8. I think it's going to come down to a real fight. And Usyk is not going to run. He's going to exchange, and that's going to be to his undoing with Joshua.
Good evening, Leif. Is Mr. Bashir saying that a boxer should only have one voice in their training, regarding sports psychology? Too many cooks spoil the broth.
Listen, I've been around a lot of master trainers, Lee Black, Tommy Parks, Lee Black, Sam Solomon, Carmine Graziano, and right up to Emmanuel Stewart, Walter Smith, Floyd Logan, Bill Miller. I've worked around all of these guys, and those guys didn't tolerate nobody in the corner, you know, putting their 2 cents in. You keep quiet. You can't do no fighting no good when you got 3, 4, 5, 6 people giving their ideas in a corner. You need one voice that the fighter identifies with and smoothly give them the instruction. Not no whole grocery list full of instructions. Simple stuff. Work off the jab and then hook behind it. Work off the jab, then hook by something simple. All the other stuff the guy's been trained. He knows when to throw the right hand. He knows when to throw the uppercut. He knows when to hook to the body. But you give him something simple. But you don't need the fighter. Don't need me, him, and the mother in the corner. Throw the right hand. Somebody throw the left. Everybody thinks they're helping a fighter. I've been in dozens of corners where the father or the uncle, or the cousin, and I'm trying to talk to the fighter, and then they're interjecting while I'm trying to talk to them. And I used to be so angry, but I didn't want to cause chaos in the corner by getting into an argument with his family member.
Mhm.
I would just call them to the side after the fight and say, listen, from now on, they can't come in the corner. They can't be there because they're too disruptive. How can I get the instruction over to you when I got to fight with your family? So everybody wants to help, but it's just best if it's just one person talking to the fighter and the fighter identifies with that person.
Okay, but let me add this. You weren't too impressed with sports psychologists, but the olden day or the more experienced old school trainers were mentors and fathers and best friends and counselors. So that sports psychologist sort of role was wrapped into the old school trainers because they were like fathers and mentors. Today's trainers are very much just good padmen, but not actual mentors and teachers. So that sports psychologist might not have been needed back in those days as much because you had well-rounded gurus or mentors or teachers. Your thoughts?
I don't know. I just think that
Okay, Customado. Are you saying that his guidance of Mike Tyson? He didn't have those moments where he sat down and talked to Mike and had Mike have a look at himself in a way that nobody else could have done it. He's no different to what a sports psychologist would have done for Mike Tyson. He was like a mentor to Mike. He was Mike's mentor, wasn't he? Customado.
yeah, certainly he was. But Customato was on another level. Three, you took 3 street kids that didn't know jack about boxing. You
Yeah.
know, um,
Patterson.
what do you say?
Patterson, did you say?
Floyd Patterson, and what's the Puerto Rican kid name? There's a Puerto Rican that he trained too. It
Okay.
was Floyd Patterson, Mike Tyson. I forget the Puerto Rican kid name.
Okay.
Jose. But nonetheless, Customato produced two of the youngest, no,
Ever.
two of the youngest
He
champions
waits.
in the history
Champions
of
of all
this.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and his record hasn't been broke to this day.
Yeah. So this is my point. So I think those same trainers that you talk about and that are so great, that were part because they were so great because they had the capacity not just to train a fighter, but they were able to get the best out of fighter because they had different sides to their what they brought. They weren't just a trainer; they were a father, a mentor, a best friend, a guardian. Do you know how many trainers today would be standing outside the toilet of their fighter? Everywhere the fighter goes, the trainer's there. They're a handler as well.
Yeah, there's lot of a lot of buffoons. These guys they think they're trainers. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
interfere with nobody. I don't say nothing to nobody. Every time you say something to somebody, people take offense of it and knock you in the head. You see what happened to me? They get knocked
yeah,
in the head.
yeah.
So I don't say nothing to nobody. I just stay away from it. I sit back and I let them make mistakes on their own. Maybe some of them are learning, maybe some of them won't. But I'm not saying nothing. But
Okay.
it's a far cry from yesteryear.
Okay, Nick G says literally just logged into YouTube and it's on his channel. One of his guys just released a short video informing us. Okay, Michael Thomas says switch hitting Usyk needs to jab AJ like Terence Crawford style. Moving on, guys. I would love to see Usyk wins. Yesterday's Usyk dressed as a Joker, Tyson dressed as Batman for his presser versus Vlad. That's enough for me to think it's fate. Wow. He goes on to say, let's go down. Let's move this down. Uh, Nick G, people dropping like flies. RIP, Pep Talk UK. Wow. God bless him. AJ needs double jab. First round like Lennox Lewis. Rough Usyk up like Michael Grant back in the day. Let's move on. Tell Bashir, a guy once said, women weaken legs. If it does, how, when? We don't know until the fight happens. It's all talk. Is it true, Uncle? Women weakens legs? I think they do. But what do you think?
My belief is that they do.
They
From
do.
my own experience,
Uh-huh.
having relationships with women, you can't do that there and be no boxer. You can't
No.
even play baseball. You can't do no sport.
Can't
You
do
can't
anything.
even play basketball.
No.
You
One,
need time.
one,
You need time. You need time to
one.
get the
I think
body in shape. To get the
back. Yeah.
body in shape, especially in boxing, because you're taking punches and the body's got to be able to deal with the volume of shock that it's receiving, and you can't do that there if you're out there copulating with a woman. You can't do that. It just doesn't work like that.
Nick
That's
G
that's
says.
a very stupid thing to do.
hmm Joshua Speed, explosive power will be the difference. Nick G says. Moving on. Nick G. Brad says Nick AJ has to be able to use that power. Usyk's speed might prevent that. I don't agree with you there with Usyk's speed. If Chaz Witherspoon can hit him and nail him with straight right hands, as we saw in the video clips I showed you earlier tonight, Chaz Witherspoon was, for me, out of shape and retired. Comes out and he's hitting Usyk in the first and second round with straight right hands. If that's Josh hitting them straight right hands and left hooks, the fight could be over early, I think, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Uncle?
It sounds. Yeah, yeah. If he gets nailed by Joshua early, it could be over.
I'm saying this fight can end in the first six. Because if you're getting hit by Chaz Witherspoon, check this. You're getting hit by Chaz Witherspoon, you're getting hit by Derek Chisora, and you get hit by Tony Bellew. Those three fights there, he hasn't showed me any improvement. Have you seen Usyk improve in those last three fights? Where's been the improvement? People think now he's suddenly gonna be this. He's gonna suddenly move more. I mean, I just don't see it.
And
And
he's
he's put
bigger.
more weight on, and he's bigger,
Yeah,
and he
he's
put more
bigger.
weight on. So how's that going to work? He's going to be slower than he was against Chisora. So how's
He
that
got
going to
those
work?
he got those big muscles too.
I don't understand it. I don't understand the logic personally, but there we go. I think Usyk's speed and movement will be fine for 3-4 rounds. What speed and movement? I don't know where this Usyk speed and movement comes from. Roy Jones had speed and movement, but I don't see Usyk being that speedy. Do you understand? That far, I don't see it. I mean, he might have a little bit of movement here and there, but I mean, Chaz Witherspoon is hardly Muhammad Ali, and he was pinging Usyk with that straight right hand,
Yeah,
and that's the first couple of rounds. You should be getting hit with straight right hands if you're that good and that masterful and that evasive and that defensively responsible. You should be getting hit with silly shots like that. I just think people are confused with the cruiserweight Usyk with the heavyweight Usyk. And I also think that Usyk has slowed and he's done lots of injuries. And he has a vast amateur career background as well. Those guys have 30 or 300 plus fights as an amateur. That surely must take its toll in the pro ranks. You have a shorter pro career, I would have thought.
Yeah, that many fights, that many amateur fights can take its toll on anybody.
And he's 35, 34, 35 years old. He's 4 years older than Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not a spring chicken. Far from it.
No, he's been out there for a while, you know, and he's sustained a lot of injuries over those years. He's sustained a lot of injuries. You can't be a fighter for 300 fights and not sustain injuries.
That's just why I don't think I just don't think he's the guy that people are putting him out to be. I think there's a catch. There's this overrating of Usyk. He's been done very well as a cruiserweight, but since he stepped up to heavyweight, the form guide hasn't been great. He hasn't looked Name me the last time Alexander Usyk looked spectacular in a fight that you went, wow, that was amazing.
Tony Bellew.
That wasn't amazing. He was getting outboxed by Bellew for how many rounds? He was behind the scorecard before Bellew.
He was sensational at the end, you know.
Sensational
stoppage, you know.
Yeah, but Uncle, sensational. Did Tony Bellew? Did Usyk win that fight? Did Bellew lose that fight?
He got hit on the chin.
He exhausted. This is a guy that drained himself from heavyweight
back down to cruiserweight. He was exhausted.
Yeah, but he came from cruiserweight. He came from heavyweight back down to cruiserweight. Come on, Uncle. This was a guy. Remember, this is the same Alexander Usyk was meant to go out and blow out Chaz Witherspoon, who's meant to put on a masterclass against Chisora. This is what the press was expecting. This is what the fans were expecting. We didn't see that.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see it.
Well, the clock is ticking. We're going to find some things out.
Hello, guys. You're looking good, Uncle. Says, fit him on me. Do you know who that is? I think you might know that person. Fit him Imami. I think you might know that person. I get this funny feeling you know the person.
Not that off the top of my head.
Well, I think they know you. Because I think Usyk's speed and movement will be fine for the first 3 to 4 rounds. How will the extra weight affect Usyk? He looks sluggish to me at times against Chisora. There we go.
You won't be able to tell the first 2-3 rounds, but unless Joshua engages him and they get chest to chest, then you'll be able to tell. Certainly, you'll be able to tell after 7 rounds. You'll be able to tell whether that weight.
He was puffing against Chisora.
Oh, yeah, he was exhausted.
Exactly. So where is this Alexander? The Alexander Usyk of the cruiserweight could go for 1 to 12 rounds. You knew this. He never got tired, Usyk, at cruiserweight.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be.
He was known as the ever ready. They called him like the what was it?
He's probably going to come in tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, he's probably going to come in the ring at 224, 225.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Even worse.
And if he gets moved around the ring within the first 3 rounds, any kind of contact where they're pushing weight and stuff like that, he's going to get tired. That's why I say I would have brought him in between 215 and 217. You know,
and then maybe been at 220 by the time he's in the ring.
Mm-hmm. I would have brought him in lighter. You know, I'd have took my chances with the lighter physical attributes and boxing skills.
I'm taking Joshua inside 6, Uncle, because if it went wrong, he says punk shit. I couldn't see that sports psychology stuff flying back then. If he went wrong in the gym, it got fixed in the gym. Yeah,
that's right.
It's true.
That's right.
Obsessed.
And the trainers was, huh?
Eugene says obsessed.
The trainers back then would stop you in mid session and say, no, that's not correct. That's not correct. But now that the modern day coach said, let them finish the round, then we'll talk about that. It's not the proper way. The old coaches will stop you right in the middle of this and no, we got to correct this now. You got to correct it now.
Nick G says Chisora couldn't catch up with Usyk because he was too one-dimensional and predictable. Just follow him around the ring. Joshua will cut off the ring.
And plus he had plus he's carrying a little grocery cart around on his back. Fat ass.
Gross.
Yeah. I mean, Chisora came in the fight 255 pounds.
Somebody said AJ might be running around the ring trying to catch Usyk. Can't see it happening. I tell you, if Chaz Witherspoon can nail him early, then I don't see this elusiveness that people are talking about. I think they're making things up.
If he starts chasing Usyk around the ring, then I'm saying again, what are they doing in the training camp to stop that? You've got to address those problems in the training camp. Nobody should be following Usyk around the ring after seeing Gassiev, Glowacki, and all these other guys do the same thing. They all follow him around the circle, around, just follow him around the ring. It's almost like they don't want to cut the ring off.
Eddie's face would be
priceless. They don't want to see the big bad wolf. They don't want to see the big bad wolf.
Eddie's face would be priceless after him proudly waving the lifetime contract round. All right, pissing weak, yeah. Just talk about lifetime contract with Joshua and Joshua getting beat by Usyk would be quite funny.
Like I said, I think that if things go according to a correct plan, then between 9 and 11, the fight gets stopped because by then AJ should have worn Usyk down. Usyk got the weight on him, and I think that it could come back to haunt him if he's in a tough fight, And he's probably going to come in 224, 225, so it could work against him.
Nick G says Joshua stops him late or on points. I think people are forgetting 10-8 rounds when Usyk gets dropped on his ass. Wilder nearly outpointed Fury the same way. He lost that fight though. Usyk's going to go down like a whole old building at Bashir.
Yeah, he can get hit.
Nick says Usyk's 35 now, not spring chicken, plenty of miles on the clock. That's what I said. Just a thought. Are we saying Usyk is not as good as a heavyweight? Is the truth Usyk is not as good without James Bashir? That too.
It remains to be seen. I don't think nobody should work with nobody that they don't want to work with. I think that he's a good fighter. I think that he could possibly do things in the division. I just don't think that he can do it against Anthony Joshua.
I struggle to give Bellew credit for anything. Jesus, that guy's unlikable. I've got power. The next one, he goes, Bellew was weight gained for the Usyk fight, was walking around for heavyweight for 3 years prior to the fight. I was always going to tire. Fair play to Usyk who picked him off, but Bellew was never going to win that. Yeah, well, that's my point, Nick G. He was behind on Usyk was behind on points against a weight drained Tony Bellew. So for me, it's like this: he's fought Tony Bellew, he's fought Derek Chisora, and his chief sparring partners now sparring with Usyk. That's 3 people that have got insight on Alexander Usyk. If you can't get enough intel out of those 3 guys, Bellew was ahead in the fight against Usyk. Chisora fought him, and Chisora took him into almost a life and death as far as I'm concerned. And then you've had his chief sparring partner, Joshua's chief sparring partner has been, what's his name? I can't see the guy, Martin Bacoli. So now Joshua's going to get the chance after all 3 of those guys, British heavyweights, have worked with or fought with Usyk. That's 3 heavyweights too many, I think. Do you understand what I'm saying there, Uncle?
Yeah, I understand.
In terms of intel, you've had Bellew fight him in a close fight. You've had and Belly was weight drained. That fight was a close fight. You've got Derek Chisora. Those are two fights that Usyk was meant to blow the guys away, and it was never meant to be a close fight. And then his chief sparring partner, or his top sparring partner, was Martin Bakoli, which was Joshua's chief sparring partner. So come on, that's three British heavyweights.
Yeah. Well, I think that, like I said, I think that Anthony Joshua he got to do it tomorrow. He's got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a legacy fight. Everything is riding on this fight for Anthony Joshua. Like I said, Usyk can lose and he can come back. You know, I'm not saying he's going to lose, but I'm saying if he does lose, it's still not going to diminish who and what he is. You know, they'll give him a bye because he's a ex cruiserweight, and he'll only come back hungrier. But if AJ loses, they'll say, no,
Yeah.
no, no, this guy he can't take it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he can't
Yeah.
take it, and this and that. They'll never let him. They'll never let him alone. So he has to go out there and do it. I think that he will do it. I think that he's going to be too much for Alexander. You know, if they get past the 7th, 8th, 9th round or in them areas, I think that by then Usyk will be tired. He'll be very vulnerable.
Okay, Uncle.
You know, AJ gets him out of there.
Uncle, I'm going for Joshua inside 6. I think
I like I
Usyk
like I
is.
like Joshua. I like Joshua between 9 and 11.
I like Joshua inside 6. I'll tell you why. I'm going with Joshua inside 6. Alexander Usyk will be slower coming into this fight. He's been nailed repeatedly with the right hand. I believe that Joshua hits harder than Bellew, Chisora, Martin Bakole. In fact, I think all those guys. I think Joshua hits harder than all of them, and I just don't see how Usyk's going to get out of the way of the right hand. I don't see how he's going to get out of the way of the left hook. I don't think he's defensively responsible as far as I'm concerned. Alexander Usyk, I think he is. I think me personally, I think Usyk's in decline. I don't. I think since he's become a heavyweight, he's not been impressive. He hasn't been impressive for the last 3 fights now, as far as I'm concerned. And I just think he's found that level. I don't think there's another gear for Alexander Usyk. And because of that, I think the
You know,
athletic.
another thing about the modern fighter, they're
Mhm.
more apt to do things which what they think is
It's the right
permissible,
thing to do.
as
Hmm.
opposed to listening to the people who have been training fighters for years.
Hmm.
When the trainers come in and say, "Listen, don't do that. This is what you need to do.
Hmm.
Pay attention to this here, and this will help you get." But no, I want to do this here. It's always something with the young fighters. You know, you can't make them. You can only suggest to them. You know.
Hmm.
And sometimes even with Vlad gets a little antsy sometimes. I say, Vlad, why are you doing that? Why are you doing it? You don't need to do that. Yeah, but I want to do this, that, this, that. I say, all right, go ahead, man. Go ahead. You know, I don't force it. I can
Another.
only I can only suggest, you know, and I tell them at the end of every conversation, I said, Vlad, my man, this is for the World Heavyweight Championship. You can't afford to be making mistakes and come back a year or two from now and say, damn, you right, you was right. You know, yeah, but in the meantime, you got a loss. You don't have to have one, you
Um,
know?
Anatoly Lomachenko. My also belief is that when the punches start flying from Joshua and the big bombs start coming out, as we saw with the big punching of Lopez, Lomachenko didn't know what to do, and I don't think that Usyk's going to know what to do when them big bombs start flying from a big, strong, powerful heavyweight. That's athletic, and that's the difference. You're talking about athletic heavyweight now, not a fat, cumbersome heavyweight, an athletic heavyweight who I think is coming into his prime.
Yeah, he's a very powerful young man. He's a big guy, you know. Um, I spent those weeks with him in the Klitschko training camp, and he's a big, strong young man. I mean, he's an evenly built young man. He's not like Deontay. Deontay is top heavy, but he got little legs.
Yeah.
Joshua is evenly built all the way up from the big toe all the way up to the top of his head. He's evenly built. You know, um, you just don't want to get hit. You don't want to get hit there.
I just can't see Usyk getting out of the way of it, Uncle. If you can't get out of the way of Chaz Witherspoon, you can't get away Derek Chisora. Hell no, you're getting out of the way of Joshua. Just can't see it.
I would be shocked if one of these guys gets stopped inside of 5 rounds.
I can see it happening. I can see,
Huh?
I can see, I can see, I can see Usyk going over inside 6. Can see it.
I would be shocked if that happened.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I think that he's cunning enough not to get nailed like that.
Really? I didn't see
Yeah,
that cunning. I didn't see the cunningness against Chaz Witherspoon. This is what I'm saying. I
yeah.
didn't see it.
I think the antenna is going to be up on this here one though. Anthony Joshua is
Yeah, but
McCall
he's got bad.
Crawford.
He's got bad habits. When his back touches the ropes. When I've studied him, when Usyk backs up against the ropes, he does this. I saw him when he backs up and he goes straight back and he does this against the ropes. Sometimes when he's jabbing, he brings the hand back here and he leaves gaps open here and for the uppercut as well, Uncle. I tell you.
Well, the clock is ticking.
Yeah, it's ticking.
The clock is
And every
ticking.
time, and with every pound he puts on, he gets slower and slower. And he gives, you know yourself, the boxing's a percentage game. And as he gets slower and slower, that right hand gets closer and closer to that chin. And at 217 and 219, the same punch that may have slipped away from his chin and rolled at now 224, 225 is the one that's making full connection, Uncle. And that's the difference. Come on, Uncle.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Both of those guys are going to fight tomorrow night. I'm expecting a really, really, really good contest for whatever the length of time that the fight
I'm expecting
lasts.
explosive finish, Uncle. Explosive finish. Explosive. You got people still here in the room?
Okay.
It says, for Mr. Bashir, do you forever have special connection with the fighter after training them into the success?
Say that again.
Do you have forever a special connection with the fighter after training them into success?
I have a special connection with fighters, whether they were successful or unsuccessful, because they're human beings, And most of them, I've been like a father figure to them. I try not to let them down. When I say don't let them down, I try to be as best example for them as I possibly can. That's what so I stay close. I stay close to, I still see lots of fighters that I trained all over the country, and in many cases all over the world. I stay in touch with them right here on Facebook. They always pop up, say, how you doing, this and that, and I get back to them. I always answer them back, so yeah, I try to stay in touch with all of them. They're human beings, I can't just dismiss them after they finish boxing.
Check this out. It says here, I don't think Usyk will win for all the reasons that have been mentioned. However, AJ is so boring and fake. I would love to see Usyk do it.
Huh.
Jeff says Chaz Witherspoon taking a lot of heat here. I'm gonna have to watch that fight. I must have missed it. Yeah, please do. Did Usyk respect what was in front of him? Well, he's in the heavyweight division. If he didn't respect it, well, that's not good.
I think if Chaz got off the couch to come in that fight,
exactly.
he was doing the couch potato. He was doing the couch potato, and I don't think he did nothing since. He just got off the couch, came in, and went back to the couch.
Yeah.
I think that if Chaz wanted to fight, he could have did a better job.
Absolutely.
Chaz, I know Chaz. He's a better boxer than what he showed in that fight.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, but Usyk is a very talented fighter. But I think that from what I saw in the Chaz Witherspoon fight, that Chaz, I know him, and Chaz could have done better.
He
But
just went for the
he
payday.
was doing
He
but
went
he
for
was doing the
payday.
couch potato. He was doing the couch potato, and he hasn't done anything since then. I don't think so.
Yep. Nope. Witherspoon fight was in a car park in Detroit during lockdown, I think.
Huh?
That sounds so brutal. There's this Charles Witherspoon fight was in a car park in Detroit during lockdown, I think.
Yeah.
He says, surely it was in a pub in the UK. And he listened to this bit. Witherspoon tried to sell him a second-hand car after the fight.
Yeah, I think Chaz is. I think he's done. I think he don't want to box no more.
No. So I just I don't know. Maybe it's me, but I just don't like when I watch boxing. I don't like to add things that don't exist. Like and boxing fans seem to add these bits of components that are just not there. Like I'm not seeing all this fantastic speed and movement. I'm not seeing it. I judge it by who you're fighting against. Like people say that Khan is fast, but he gets nailed by Danny Garcia, who's as flat-footed as they come. So you can't be that fast, can you?
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying, Uncle?
Yeah, I understand.
So Usyk that fought Joyce, that's where I saw speed in the amateurs because every time Joyce put his hand up to try and he couldn't stop the left-right combination coming through. He couldn't stop that combination. Every time Usyk jumped in and went bam bam, that's speed. And all Joyce could do is blink, and then Usyk was gone.
Yeah.
But that Usyk was in the amateurs, but I haven't seen that Usyk. I didn't see him do it against Chisora. I didn't see that Usyk.
In the Breeders' fight, was a close fight.
And that's what I'm saying to you. That's what I'm saying as well. But I like Breeders anyway. I think I rate Breeders. If I could manage any guy in boxing, that would be the guy I'd manage. Breeders.
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
Yeah, Breeders seemed to have run out of gas in the last round. Last two rounds, Usyk started picking up steam and won the decision.
Yeah. If something's repeated often enough, it becomes truth. Interesting. Leif Graham says Chaz Witherspoon is going to be kicking the car across the living room listening to this video. The cat across the living room listening to this video.
Yeah. Yeah. Chaz, but I don't think Chaz fought since the Usyk fight.
Uncle, one more thing I want to ask before we close this off. There's this talk, and I'm not buying into it, but maybe you can. Alexander Usyk has been playing possum, and he's been saving the best of his boxing until he fights AJ. I think that's virtually impossible. In a fight, when somebody's trying to take your head off, you haven't got time to play possum. It's boxing. If a guy's trying to take your head off and you're in clear and present danger, you haven't got time to be underperforming.
No,
You're looking to
I
fight
doubt that.
safe.
I doubt that.
You can't do that. It's not unless everything was pre-rehearsed. You doubt it as well.
No, I doubt that. I doubt that. I think that the way Usyk fought Chisora, he had to fight like that. He felt safe fighting like that. There, he felt like he couldn't get hurt because Usyk told me that he got hurt at one point in the fight that Chisora had hurt him.
Yeah.
Not
second round.
Not bad enough.
Second round.
Not bad enough to get him out of the fight, but he felt the punches. That's what he told me.
He said that the lights went out when Chisora hit him in the second round.
Chisora's
if the lights went out with Chisora in the second round, then you might as well close up the auditorium and go home. Because when Joshua hits him, It's going to be a whole different level of juggling balls in the air and dancing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And that's why I think he's going to catch him early. But maybe not.
All right, my brother.
Uncle, what you're saying, HC weather, sometimes guys don't look that good and then all of a sudden they look great.
I got a plan.
Usyk playing possum for 3. Oh, the
Go ahead, go
last
ahead.
thing is Usyk playing possum for 3 heavyweight fights would go down as some of the greatest 4D chess ever played. That's an insane theory. That's what I'm saying. It's not possible, is it, Uncle? Playing possum for 3 heavyweight fights.
No, I doubt that. I doubt it very seriously.
And you're his ex-trainer, so come on.
I doubt. Alexander Usyk don't play when he get in the ring.
There you go.
He doesn't play. He doesn't play when he gets in the ring. He's a focused guy, and he's gonna try. And if he sees an opening, then he's gonna open up on you. He's gonna open up the garage on you. He's gonna all the tools in that garage. You're gonna bring him out.
That's
So
it.
I doubt very seriously if he played around any of those fights.
Yeah. Uncle, thank you
He's
so
a
much.
professional. This guy's a professional.
Absolutely.
Professional. He's a professional assassin. You know, he'll do what he has to do to stay in there. But he's an assassin. If he finds a way, if a window opens and he can get something good, that's somebody asking something. What they say.
He says, Yo Ingram, great show. Say salam alaikum, Uncle Bashir. Says Ring Gang TV.
Walaikum salam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
There you
Yes. Okay. I got a plane to
Uncle?
catch, and next time I catch you, God willing, inshallah, I will see you on the other side of the pond.
Enjoyed that. Yep. Okay, let me do a little commercial for everybody before they go. Make sure you download the BWTM app. You get to see all the latest videos and a little bit more. And I'll just give you the app. Uncle, thank you so much as always.
Yes. Likewise.